And so at this point, our job is really to just sit here, shut the fuck up, and get fabulously wealthy. But in order to understand how to do that, that's what I'm trying to explain to people, that, we're at a point now where, there is a lot of negativity out there, and you need to stay strong with that. You need to stay strong with the conviction, understand the asset. Keep educating yourself and keep understanding the asset. Every day, understand Bitcoin 1% more. And you will get to a point where none of this is going to affect you, right? In fact, I'm getting very excited with all the negativity because it means that we're due for a bounce up. But right now, with a sideways market, psychologically what you get is just pressure building up, right? You get this hope as it goes up, and then you're like, shit, it didn't happen, it starts coming down, like, fuck, and then you're like, oh, look, et cetera, right? So, now is the time to realize that there is a negative tailwind currently in the market, and that is Mt. Gox. Mt. Gox has pushed a bunch of Bitcoin out there ready to be sold, and is selling it directly into the market, right? You've got Germany that's been selling a few hundred million every now and then. I think they've got 3 billion total to sell. And so you've got all these things sort of ruminating that are negative sell events. Now let me ask you something. How much Bitcoin can be sold, right? How much real Bitcoin can be sold? Because there's going to be a couple of you smart asses out there saying, oh, but the futures, you can short the future. No. How much real Bitcoin can be sold? Certainly not all of it, right? Because those sellers, big sellers, are not in the markets, right? You've got big sellers that we know of, Mt. Gox and Germany at this point in time in the market, but that's it, right? That's it. So if you're someone who's sitting there, I think Tom Lee said this the best, if you're sitting there and you are trying to analyze, what do I do here? What's going on in the markets? Realize there are 2 negative, downwinds in the market, right? But there are an almost unlimited amount of upwinds in the market, right? So this is how you got to balance yourself. You got to think about it like this. Okay, so right now the price sucks, and now that the price sucks, what is the likelihood of the price? Where is the price going to be in 6 months' time? Okay, so let's think about that. Number one, we already looked at the negatives. You got Mt. Gox, Germany selling. Cool. What about the positives? You're about to have a presidential election in the United States where the president, the leading candidate, the one who is, even all betting markets, everyone, even the ones who hated him 4 years ago, are saying he's going to win, right? He has come out and he's completely pro Bitcoin, right? Talking about President Trump, obviously. What else do you have? You've got $9 to $10 trillion of capital sitting on the sidelines of the market that has not made a move in over a year, not generated any returns in over a year because they think that their 5% interest rate is enough. And what they're about to realize is that it's not enough because real inflation is a lot higher than that. And yes, they've made good returns previously, but right now they've made no returns on $9 trillion. And as we understand, as I've said this many times, capital must pursue a high risk return the more money is printed, right? And so they're going to come back and go, what's the highest risk thing I can do? Wait a second, there's a BlackRock ETF. And of course, BlackRock team and Larry Fink and everybody are doing a great job at promoting Bitcoin. So they'll be on the phones advising people about Bitcoin this whole time. So that $8 to $10 trillion comes back in. Small portion is going to go into Bitcoin through the ETFs, of course, but small portion is going to go into Bitcoin when that's ready. Right? You look at people are waking up to the fact that real estate is not a viable investment with all these countries around the world, like Barcelona, or cities and countries. Barcelona just announced that they're going to ban holiday rentals by things like Airbnb because the property price is too much. So you've basically got an acknowledgement that the real estate price is completely and utterly co-opted and controlled. And of course, people don't want that for their wealth. So you've got people waking up to Bitcoin. You've got an ETF there. You've got Larry Fink out marketing. You've got all of the YouTube world out marketing and talking about Bitcoin. You've got YouTubers, actually, it's quite interesting. YouTubers who were talking about traditional finance are sitting there going, wait a second, maybe I need an allocation into Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is entering the public consciousness, and the biggest thing for me right now is not only do you have Larry Fink, who is, again, you guys understand this. A lot of people may not like what I'm about to say, but you guys that have been subscribed and have been following along understand what I'm about to say, and that is very simply, I care about the people who are making the decisions of where that capital goes. And as of last year, or maybe this year, the top 1% in America actually has more than the bottom 99%. And so really, if Bitcoin is a monetary network, I can sit here and try and tell you, yeah, you need to get to 1 Bitcoin, you need to get to 1 Bitcoin. That's cool. And there's obviously, we're building a community of people who are and have done that. And for that, I want to congratulate you. But all of this, right, me speaking here, is really pissing against the wind in terms of how much capital there is out there, because that top 1% takes instruction from BlackRock, right? They don't listen to YouTube. So if you're listening to this, you and me have to catch up to what's about to happen, and we have to prepare ourselves before it is too late, which is why I keep asking you to subscribe, help me spread the message more, because that's what needs to happen. So time is running out. And in the meantime, you've got BlackRock pitching Bitcoin, you've got the president pitching Bitcoin. What more do you need, right? And of course, Bitcoin is a scarce asset that humanity has never seen before. It has absolute finality of scarcity. And if you are someone who needs more Bitcoin because you haven't gotten to that 1 Bitcoin yet, now is your chance. And it could be one of your final chances. One of the most funniest things that we keep hearing every now and then is, there's just these periods where people say, is that the last chance to buy below 70,000? And that certainly started coming up. And obviously the answer was no. We had many more chances to buy below 70,000. But that's sort of part of the game when it comes to investing. But what is this? So in this video, I just wanted to cover, all of the selling pressure, all of the negatives that are going on in the markets. And maybe a couple positives, right? Because if you're sitting there, if you're one of my people, none of this is worrying you at all, because you completely understand the asset. You completely understand that scarcity is what drives value. You completely understand that Bitcoin is going through a process of switching hands, because this is what we've been talking about. The rotation of the buyer is happening. The rotation of the owner, rather, is happening. And you are completely aware of this. And if you're not aware of this, you need to subscribe. If you are aware of this, unsubscribe and subscribe again, right? And help me spank the algorithm to get this type of content, not the emotionally charged content, not the bland news reading content, out to people so that they can actually control what's going on in their lives. Whereas right now what happens is people get emotional, they start selling, they start buying other crap, and that's how people lose their life savings, right? That's how people also, if you can control it, you get on the right side. That's how people become multi-billionaires when it comes to any asset, not just Bitcoin, right? It's happened in real estate, stocks, gold, everything, right? At the same time, understand that BlackRock's ETF has not seen a single day of outflow during this entire period. Why do you think that is? Do you really think that those guys are smart? Or do you think they're stupid? I think they're smart. I think they're absolutely smart to not have a single day of outflow while everyone else in the world is panicking like their hair's on fire. There's people now telling me that the top for the cycle is in. Right? Same people that were reading charts telling me it's a 4-year cycle, now telling me the top for the cycle is in. That's how much bullshit is out here. So I said when I went on vacation, a lot of content right now for Bitcoin feels forced. Right? It feels like people are saying shit to say shit. And that's not really how it should be. The main mission for you is to understand the asset so you can hold on to it during these times. During these sorts of time periods, you want to be able to be strong enough to hold on to the asset. That is it. That is the only thing that you need to do. So on that note, I want you to realize that yes, there are tailwinds right now to the downside. There are negatives going on. Mt. Gox in Germany are selling Bitcoin. Yes, absolutely. But at the same time, look at all the positives that are going on, right? You've got President Trump pro-Bitcoin. right? You got the ETFs, Larry Fink, world's best and most powerful asset manager in the world, pro-Bitcoin. You've got Gary Gensler is about to lose his job, right? And I said, it's quite funny, timing, of course, sort of worked out. I tweeted out and I said, anyone's got a shitcoin ETF, now's the time to file it. And then 2 days later, all the Solana ETFs started getting filed. So nothing to do with me, obviously, but it was just timing was convenient. It looks like we're on the same wavelength as everyone else. So everyone's just trying to figure it out now, right? There's so much bullish tailwind here. It is unbelievable. Your only job should be to get as much Bitcoin as you can. If you haven't got to that one Bitcoin, you need to get to one Bitcoin because your time is running out. There will be one day where we look at this when this bull market gets going, and that is going to be, I believe, at $79,000. That is the inflation-adjusted all-time high. Once we break that, we are going to the moon, so to say. And that time's going to run out at some point, and you've got to be on the right side of it. And the way you get on the right side of it is by getting as much Bitcoin as you can, subscribing to the channel, sharing the message with other people, making sure that the people you care about and love are actually on board. That's how we deal with this. That's how you deal with a sideways market. Educate the people that you care about. That's how we win. There is no other way. You're going to sit through this. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to have this period of hope as it goes to 70,000. You're going to hit a resistance and come back down. Then you're going to go, oh shit, we're going to 40,000 and it's going to hit support at 60. All of this is going to happen. It's completely natural. It's a natural part of the market. It's partly one of the ways that a market maker or powers that be can bore the living shit out of retail and suck assets away from retail. And you don't want to be a victim of that. I don't want to see anyone who's watching my videos, in 10 years going, shit, I sold because, market was going sideways and didn't do anything and suddenly we woke up at 75. I don't want to see that happen. So make sure you buy, make sure you're educating the people you care about. Right now it's a boring market, but it will get started and a party will get started past $79,000. But ultimately there are always only 3 rules to Bitcoin. Step number 1, you buy Bitcoin. Step number 2, shut the fuck up. And step number 3, you get fabulously wealthy.